Everybody loves getting paid. If I were to ask you when's the last time you got a good chunk of money sent to you, you'd probably know exactly what it was and why you received it. For me, it was my last paycheck, but what if you could do that every single week passively? What if you didn't have to work to get paid every single week? Well, that is my goal. My goal is to retire, and part of my retirement portfolio is these weekly dividend ETFs. Now, you might not know that there are currently 18 of these options-based weekly paying dividend ETFs on the market. And you also might not know which ones the best performers are. So that's what this series is all about, tracking these weekly paying and dividend ETFs and seeing what actually makes people the most money. Now, in today's update, we're on week 35. There's a ton of news and a ton of stuff I have to go over, and I think you're going to want to know exactly what I'm going to say because we may have some new weekly dividend ETFs dropping very, very soon. Very soon. Trust me on that. So we're going to go over quite a few things in today's video, but I hope you enjoy this style of content. If you do, if you like dividend ETFs, making money passively every single week, don't forget to like the video and to subscribe so you don't miss these updates and the updates on our other weekly dividend accounts because there's so many of these now, it's about to make my head spin. So let's get all the details out, but first, of course, we need to roll that intro. We are officially in the green still, but only by $26.93. I've invested $1,900 total, and we have a lot to talk about. So we're going to get straight into it. I want to start off by saying I had the privilege and honor of interviewing Will Rind, the CEO of Granite Shares, this week. The video will be coming out Sunday or Monday of next week, and let me just say it was absolutely phenomenal. Like, there's nothing else to say about it. I had anticipated it to be 20 to 25 minutes. We spoke for over an hour. So I'm going to edit it down. I'm going to cut out a lot of the short pauses and whatnot so that you guys can just get straight into the meat of what was discussed. And it was absolutely phenomenal. Like I said, it went on for way longer than I anticipated because Will is just very good at what he does. If you don't know Granite Shares, they're the company that brought me to Vegas to make content on the event there. And it was phenomenal. I met a bunch of creators and I met a bunch of ETF companies. But talking with Will today, he taught me so much. And I know you guys are going to be interested in this content because not only did we talk about the rumors about weekly dividend ETFs, more coming out, we talked all about their yield boost ETFs. It was just phenomenal. So I want you guys to watch that video when it comes out because I guarantee, like I don't say that about all my videos, you guys are going to want to see that. It was amazing. And I'll be making some short content on it for you guys, kind of to tease you into it because it's an hour. It is a full hour, but it is worth it. So that was absolutely phenomenal. But with everything happening with the new weekly paying dividend ETFs coming out like NVII and potentially more in the future, I'm going to have to restructure this account. Now, you guys have been with me for 35 weeks. For 35 weeks, we have made a video every single week on these ETFs, and I want to continue to do that. But I don't know how I'm going to do it in just this account. One, it's getting rather expensive. I'm not complaining. It's a blast, and I enjoy conversing with you guys about it, but I'm going to have to split it up because these videos are getting to be too long. They just are. So I'm guessing I might do something like all the YieldMax in one account, all of the RoundHill and Defiance in another, and then probably keep the leverage separate from the options. Let me know if you guys think that's a good idea. And then, honestly, that changes everything about this YouTube channel. Because I have two channels. For those of you that don't know, I have one that's basically all the lower yield, definitely lower risk stocks and ETFs that I love. That's my bread and butter. It's what I started talking about when I was on YouTube. But since then, these high income monthly and weekly ETFs have taken over. So I don't know what I'm going to do. I might start moving some of this content over there, leaving the weekly stuff on here, but maybe more conservative, like the NEOS ETFs, talk about it over there. So I'll link that down below for those of you that are interested. And I hope you guys are interested in both because I think being well-rounded is always important. But let me know in the comments because I don't know what I'm going to do. Nothing's finalized yet. But if I was to cut this up into multiple accounts, that would mean at least 4 separate weekly dividend videos a week. And that is difficult to do when there's a lot of other content I want to make. And you guys are familiar with all the series that I've had. I've had the 10K invested series, the retire on ... series. I have the 100 shares series. There's so much that I like to make content wise, and I don't have the time to put out 14 videos a week. I wish I did. So I'm going to be splitting it up, some on this channel, some on that channel, but I'm going to focus in all the high yielding stuff, primarily the YieldMax ETFs, and probably some other popular ones on this channel, and the weeklies all on this channel. And that channel will be just kind of whatever else I throw into it. So again, subscribe to both, but we have some crazy news coming out. And if you want the full scoop on Granite shares and on everything we talked about, the yield boosts that are yielding 50% dividend yield, watch that interview when it comes up. I'll promise I'll be making a post about it, thanking Will for everything. And I think you guys will see by watching that interview how much I enjoyed it. So all that being said, let's get back into our weekly dividend ETFs on options. So we have 18 in this account. I'm going to blow through them rather quickly. We'll talk about each one, and then at the end of the video, we're going to go over the dividend tracking spreadsheet. Now, that is where I break down what's actually made the most money, because what you're seeing on screen right now is the unrealized profit and loss, meaning it's not factoring in all of the dividends or distributions paid out so far. And that's very, very important. And it's key to this entire challenge because we are income investors. We want our money now. And so finding out what pays the most is very, very important. And also total return. So we're going to jump straight into the details, starting with the Defiance ETFs, ticker IWMY. I'm going to go very quickly. IWMY, we're down 31%. The chart fell off a little bit more this week with everything dropping, but that's all right. I'm okay with it. They bounced back a little bit. I want it to, find a solid bottom and then keep moving upward. Little pullback is okay. AUM, 108.5 million and a dividend yield of just under 99%, which again is not sustainable in my opinion. We can also see last couple of distributions. We had 24 cents, 24 cents, 24.5 cents, and 24 cents. So consistency with the distributions, which is great. We just need that price to keep moving upward. I don't know if they've switched up their style and what's happening, because this is kind of what I fear with NAV erosion. And there's some of these funds I don't think is NAV erosion. I think it's just the market overall. But for me, some of what we've seen, especially with IWMY, I would call it NAV erosion. I hope they can find a way to fix it. But if not, we're just going to watch this thing fall until it does a reverse split, which nobody wants. So IWMY, not great. We've seen it bounce back a little bit. We need it to keep going. Let's check out ticker QQQY. There's so many of these, I start to lose track. QQQY is down 26.3%. And similar price to IWMY, it has held up better, which I love. I love that. I've said it almost every video in the series. I would prefer them to pay out less weekly and just have considerable better NAV. I don't want to see things continue to fall. I get some income funds, they just have to do that based off how it's structured and how the market is trading, but it's not my favorite. Dividend yield of 81.3%, AUM 153 million. Last couple distributions, we had 18.5 cents, 18.5 cents, 19 cents, and almost 19 cents again. So again, consistent dividends. They've been doing very solidly with that. And I am impressed with QQQY not falling as much as some of the others. Now we're going to jump into my favorite Defiance weekly pair, which is ticker WDTE. Down 17%, considerably better than the other two Defiance ETFs. And boom. It trailed back up, sold off a little bit worse. I'm kind of surprised it did a little worse than QQQY even, but it's still doing relatively solidly. AUM of 66 million. It's much smaller, and a dividend yield of 53.3%, which is considerably more achievable. Now, it's still very high risk. I will say all of these weekly payers are high risk, except for WEEK, which we'll get to that one. Now, we had 20 cents, 20 cents, 20 cents, and 20 cents. So can't really complain. Like I said, they are getting more and more consistent. I will say I've been seeing a couple comments, and I did get it confirmed that they are rumors. Defiance is not coming out with new ETFs that pay twice a week. I don't know where that info came from, but I checked with someone that I know who is close with Defiance and knows a lot of the inside information, and from what I was told, it's not happening. Now, is the wool pulled over my eyes? Potentially, but I wanted to double check and let you guys know I do not think that it is happening. If it does happen, well, then I'll look funny, but that's all right. I look funny quite a bit, so no harm, no foul. Our first RoundHill ETF, we have RDTE down 24.6%. Just an ugly chart. Honestly, this one launched at a bad time in the market, so I'm not surprised, but I am a little disappointed. The dividend yield, we don't know yet. We're roughly 3/4 of a year, so it's probably going to be about 40%, and AUM of 128.5 million. Now, if that dividend comment didn't make sense, well, this Moomoo only tracks it for the last 12 months, trailing 12 months, which means that since we haven't had 12 months of dividends, it's not going to be able to tell us the actual yield. It's just giving us the yield on what's been paid out so far. Now, I also want to point out, if you like this brokerage, if you need somewhere to buy all these weekly dividend ETFs because they come on Moomoo so quickly, like boom, instantly they're there when I hear about the ticker. Sometimes it's already there before I even hear about it. Moomoo is the brokerage for you. If you want to play with some fun money and put it into some of these, and you're just like, oh, I don't want to put it in my normal account, which is what I didn't want to do because I wasn't sure about them at first, Moomoo is perfect. I absolutely love it, and I've been putting more and more money in, as you guys can see. And if you use my link down below, you get some crazy perks, like up to 30 free stocks. And they're smaller stocks. They're not $100 each, but there's some crazy giveaways they do, and I really appreciate it. So if you guys want to check that out, use the link down below. It gives us a little bonus for Spencer Invest, which I appreciate because guess what? The more weekly dividends come out, the less money I have in my personal bank account, and the angrier my fiance gets at me. That's a joke. She actually completely supports this, and it's phenomenal, but, you know, I make jokes. So check out Moomoo if you guys are interested. I think you guys are going to like it, especially if you're interested in the weekly payers. Now, we can see RDTE, we had almost 24 cents, 23.5 cents, 25 cents, and 26, almost 27 cents. So consistent, it's been pretty good, and it's been increasing the last month, but we need the price to at least trade sideways for this to be good, in my opinion. I like RDTE. It is one of the ones I bought in my Roth IRA, and it has underperformed a lot of the others. So just goes to show you, everyone makes mistakes. I hope it can come out of this funk that it's in, but until then, I'll probably be buying some of the other ones that are performing better. Cough, cough, ULTY. Not financial advice. I did buy it 2 weeks ago, and I'm pumped. So we're going to get to that one in just a minute, but we got to finish up these RoundHill ETFs with one of the most popular, ticker QDTE, down 19.5%. We're really going to move through these. I keep slowing myself down. 747 million AUM and a 45.4% dividend yield. Very solid, very consistent. I like that the price bounced back pretty nicely. Buying in these lows would have been great, and dollar cost averaging would have been phenomenal, but I didn't do that on this one. So last couple of distributions, we can see we had 31 cents, we had 18 cents, we had 17 cents, and now 21.5 cents. Very good, very solid. I like that it bounced back. Like I said, I think that's a really key factor. We need to see this rebounding as the market rebounds and hopefully get back to what I paid for it at some point. Who knows? Only in due time. Let's check out ticker XDTE. Down 15.3%. We can see XDTE, similar chart, but it did hold up a little bit better, I will say. Typically, if you don't know, QDTE is higher, I would say higher risk because it pays more in dividends, but actually has more volatility in the price, meaning the NAV erosion can be worse, if you want to call this NAV erosion, versus XDTE that pays out less in dividends but holds up price a little bit better. It is smaller though, 390 million, still rather large, and a dividend yield of 32%. So lower yield, but more consistent. I own both of them, and I think QDTE has performed better for me, but we will see at the end of this video. Last couple of distributions, we had 33.5 cents, we had 24 cents, we had 21 cents, and almost 21 cents again, just under. So not going to complain. They're doing okay for the market that we've seen, but I do want them to bounce back up. But until then, you know, I'm okay with it. Let's check out more of our RoundHill weekly pay ETFs. With Bitcoin reaching new all-time highs, YBTC has been performing really well. Now, it is still down 6.77%, but the price has bounced back up, and the dividends have been very solid. We have a dividend yield of 48.5%, but it only switched to weeklies about 5 months ago. So we don't even have a full 6 months of just weekly payments. And AUM 208 million, fluctuates a lot, depends on what Bitcoin does, and so can't really complain. Now, I do like the crypto weekly ETFs because it's just cool having crypto tied in with my portfolio and still getting weekly payments. I just like it. Now, we can see we had 26 cents in dividends, we had 49 cents, 51.5 cents, and then 24 cents. So the distributions are not consistent, but they've been pretty high. So even if there isn't consistency, the ones that are way above the rest have been fueling this one, making it very profitable and one of the best performers in the account, which you'll see shortly. Now, speaking of volatility, let's talk about ticker WEEK that seemingly has zero volatility. It does have volatility. I was wrong. We are up 0.05%. Let's go. Making that money 4% at a time. Look at this. I mean, Can't really complain. It does what it's supposed to do, sit around the $100 mark and pay out 4% every single year because this is a T-bill ETF. I have a full video on this for those that are interested. It's a little bit slower, but for me, for uninvested cash, I think it's very solid. The AUM is 105 million, so people are buying in. The dividend yield will be 4% a year. So 1% every quarter. Last couple distributions, I'll tell you, they're all going to be almost 8 cents. We have almost 8 cents, almost 8 cents, almost 8 cents, and almost 8 cents. Very thrilling. I know a lot of you guys log in just to see what this ETF is doing, and I can't blame you because, wow, it is action-packed. But we do have some new RoundHill ETFs that we should talk about. I have to go through and search every name to make sure that I'm getting all the ETFs because sometimes I forget one, and there's so many it's hard to keep track now. So we have MAGY, which is the RoundHill Magnificent 7 weekly paying dividend ETF. It is different than YMAG to an extent, but I did a full video on it, so I don't want to get into the details. Down 1.14% without including the dividends, of course. And we can see, I mean, it's done pretty solidly. It's bouncing back to where our buy point is. We have an AUM of just 9.5 million, definitely smaller. Don't know what the actual distribution rate will be or dividend yield, but we'll find out in a couple weeks of payments to at least get kind of a basis for what it's going to do. Last couple distributions, we had 48 cents, then 27 cents, and now 27.5 cents. So kind of interesting. I'm curious if this is going to keep at this pace. We will know as soon as we continue tracking it, which is on my plan for the rest of 2025 at least. But will this one outperform YMAG? I'm curious. I'll be making some videos comparing these ones, comparing ticker MST to ticker MSTY. We're going to make a bunch of those videos as soon as we get more dividends to really find out what's making people the most money. So that's all of our RoundHill ETFs. We, of course, have to go through our YieldMax ones next. I'm just going top to bottom. We have CHPY down 2.76%. Not terrible. It's relatively new, low AUM of 9 million. Dividend yield is pretty high because the distributions, they were 37.5 cents, 38 cents, 39 cents, almost 40 cents, and then 38.5 cents. So more than what we've seen with some of the other ones, but not a lot of price history yet. I am curious how this one does because it's the semiconductor portfolio, which I think there's a lot of money in semiconductors, especially with AI pushing and pushing and pushing. But if you aren't interested, then this one's not for you. They have a bunch of other ETFs on crypto, on AI, which we're going to get to in just a moment. YieldMax AI and Tech portfolio. Here we go. We have GPTY. It's down 11%. This thing took quite the drop at the beginning of the year, and you can see that's when I bought it. So I was positive for about 2 or 3 solid hours before it tanked. What can you do? I bought it for this account to show you guys, and well, what I really ended up proving is you should probably wait to buy these until they've traded for a little bit. Not financial advice. That's just what the chart is showing me. AUM of 21 million and a dividend yield of 11%, but it hasn't paid out the full year again. Last couple distributions, we had 27.4 cents. We had 27 cents. We had 29 cents and 29 cents again. So GPTY pays out pretty high. The total return has been rough, but not as bad as our next ticker, LFGY, down 27.35%. Now, GPTY has been performing a bit better in the price, but LFGY pays more in dividends. So it really depends on what you want. We can see the AUM of 115 million. So a massive difference. LFGY, by the way, is the YieldMax Crypto Industry and Tech Portfolio ETF by YieldMax, of course, and the dividend yield 25.6%. So this thing pays out some big dividends. We have seen 75 cents, 47 cents, almost 48, 49 cents, and 49 cents. One thing that we'll look at when we pull up the tracking spreadsheet is I have everything categorized by what it's paid out in the past. And I was worried that LFGY was going to pay a ton of huge dividends at first and then trail off. It hasn't really done that. It's been pretty consistent and keeping up those higher distributions, which I like because even though the NAV has been beaten down, what it pays out is what income investors are really looking for. I totally forgot about QDTE, which is another new YieldMax ETF. It's up 8.5%. Because I bought it at the low, because I got lucky. Everyone gets lucky. Oh, I'm sorry. If I was like a real crypto or stock influencer, I'd be like, oh, I timed this well because I did a bunch of charting and it showed a reversal right here. And then I waited for it to find my appraisal and then it kept going from there. People lie about that stuff all the time. I got lucky. I bought it on the dip. That's the thing. This one isn't necessarily performing better than like XDTE, which we're going to look at in just a moment. It's just that I bought it at a better time. Because again, I got lucky. I mean, because I'm a great investor. So We have an AUM 7.4 million, the smallest we've looked at so far, and no distribution yield yet, but it's going to be roughly, I mean, I imagine around 40% as well. We've had some pretty good dividends. We've had 28.5 cents. We've had 23.5 cents, 32.5 cents, and 31 cents. So can't really complain. We need to see these trade for a little bit longer and in a better market than what they started out in. So, and that kind of goes for all these new ones that we've seen from YieldMax. Ticker RDTE is down 1.66%. This one I did buy at a better point, but it's just fallen off a little bit more, which is okay. AUM 4.4 million, the smallest, and the distribution rate probably around that 40% mark. We've seen some pretty high dividends though, so this one probably will be higher than QDTE. And the Russell 2000 typically has more implied volatility, I would say, even though I don't think it directly invests in the Russell. But people were commenting that YieldMax is switching up their strategies and now they do directly invest, which I need to investigate myself to make sure that it's accurate. But if you know anything about that, let me know in the comments because it could directly change how these things trade. So we had 46 cents, we had 25 cents, 24.5 cents, we had 34.5 cents, and 35.4 cents. Pretty solid. One low one, but it is bouncing back, which I do like to see. We just want to see it keep that trajectory. Even if it doesn't make me super rich on price appreciation, the goal is to live off these dividends eventually. Now we have XDTE. So again, all of these are competing. We have the 3 YieldMax that are now competing with the 3 RoundHill ETFs. And then RoundHill said, okay, 2 can play at that one. Here's MAGY. It's going to outperform YMAG. We don't really know that. But XDTE. It's down 13%. I bought this one near the beginning as well, and, well, it was a bad buy. I bought it, and it tanked. So what can you say? What a real influencer would do is they would blame this on some external force. Like, I did my charting, and it looked phenomenal, but just the market and this news and blah, blah, blah. It's mostly luck for a lot of people. Anyways, the AUM, 13 million, and a dividend yield, it's probably going to be in the 35 to 40% range. I know I've been saying that a lot, but we don't have that many dividends from these, so it's hard to tell. We had a couple last 4 dividends, 27 cents, 24.5 cents, 27 cents, and 25, almost 26 cents. So pretty solid. Can't really complain. We want these ones to trade for a little bit longer, but let's jump into what everyone wants to talk about, ticker ULTY. Down 2.04%, but I am happy with ULTY. The performance has been very, very solid. If we check into the chart, we can see it was rough. It switched to weeklies, and now it's just been doing really well since then. I will say the payments have been phenomenal. And one thing about ULTY that's very unique is it's so cheap. So you can buy a ton of shares. And I mean, you compare this to some of the other ones that are what, $30, $40, $100 for WEEK. It's hard to get that many shares. But with this, you can drip it quickly because every time you get paid a dividend, you can buy like 2 or 3 more shares depending on how much you have. So I am excited about this one. I did, like I said, I already purchased some in my actual account. We've had this in this account for quite a while, and it's done well in both for me. The AUM of 340 million and a dividend yield of 160. Wow. Apparently I can't read anymore. 146%. Now I did run all the numbers myself year to date. I think it's yielding around 90%, which if you're going, oh, only 90, what a bummer. That's insane. 90% is absolutely out of this world bonkers. So be happy. We have seen a lot of volume, a lot of buying, a lot of selling, but probably, I don't know, 50-50, maybe a little more buying than selling. Last couple distributions, we had almost 12 cents, then we had 10.5 cents, we had 10 cents, and we had 9.5 cents. Now, I know you're probably thinking, oh, 9.5 cents, that's not even that good. Well, if you buy 4 shares, you're getting 40 cents, and it only costs you 6 times 4 is 24. $24. So same price for a lot of these other ETFs that are not paying 40 cents a dividend, just to put that into comparison for you guys. So I'm happy with it. We'll see how it does. Now we got to jump into YMAG and YMAX, 2 of the most popular weekly dividend ETFs. We are going to start out with YMAG, but I do want to say if you're interested in how the leveraged weekly pay account has been going, check that out. I'll link it at the end of this video. Some of those are up. One is up over 40%. So if you want to know how that account is doing to this one compared to this one, that one's doing better. I will say it. But it's being carried by a couple really high-paying weekly payers. And there's some new ones in there as well. So YMAG down 18.5%. We dollar cost average way down, but the problem is I bought up here. I can't even remember when I first bought this thing. Right here, I bought almost $100 worth. So it's going to take a long time to dollar cost average down in these ranges, which is fine. We had an AUM of 322 million and a 50% dividend yield, which is very solid. Last couple distributions, 10.5 cents, 20 cents, 26 cents, 30 cents. I don't know what is happening with these, but they are all over the map with their dividends. We had like 3 or 4 weeks of it being sub 10. It went to 8 cents, and now we're back up to 30. Must be implied volatility, but that's nuts. Anyways, if you're a YMAG holder, you're probably pumped about that because that's phenomenal. Let's see if YMAX is doing the same. Down 20.9%. I am curious between YMAG and YMAX, which one's paying more and which one has better total return, because YMAX needs to pay out a high dividend to keep its spot in the number 1 spot, because it's been a top performer for a very long time. AUM 780 million. I think that is higher than QDTE. I think YMAX is the largest of the weekly payers, and we have a dividend yield of 63.5%, which is outstanding. Last couple distributions, we had almost 17 cents. We had 19 cents. We had 18.5 cents and 21.5 cents. So not as good as YMAG, but is it going to be enough to dethrone YMAX at the top of the account, as well as ULTY and YBTC, which are 2 of our top performers over the last month? So we're going to find out very, very soon. Let's jump into that dividend tracking spreadsheet and see exactly how much money I was paid this week in dividends. I hope you guys are ready to nerd out with me because this is one of my favorite parts of this entire challenge. Looking at the distributions. IWMY paid 74 cents, pretty average. QQQY 58 cents, again, a little low. WDTE 41 cents on the lower end. Not a great week for the Defiance ETFs, but they did have some insane weeks like a month ago that I was like, what is even going on? QDTE 52 cents, not great. XDTE 63 cents, not great. And RDTE 75 cents, again, not great. Could be a little better, but it's not as bad. Then we have YMAG with $1.60. Like, look at this. What is happening? We were at 50 cents, 60 cents, and then they went to $1.22, and they said, you know what? Do it again, $1.23. And then guess what they did this time? They said, do it again, but more, $1.60. Don't know what's happening, but someone at the YMAG office needs a raise. And then we have YMAX. We have $1.22, $1.24, and now $1.21. So they're cooking. I'm happy about it. I am. Then we have YBTC with $1.03. We have LFGY with 98 cents. Whoops. We have GPTY 58 cents. We have SDTY 55 cents. All of these are pretty run-of-the-mill with what we've seen. YBTC had a good dividend. The rest are all pretty consistent. And then we get to ULTY, which again, YMAG had probably the best dividend it's ever paid at $1.60, and it didn't even do better than ULTY's 172, which isn't even their high. Their highest is $2.01. WEEK staying strong and firm with that 8-cent distribution. You got to love it because it is pretty funny. RDTY 69 cents. Whoa. Then, of course, we have QDTY 56 cents. MAGY. Yeah, MAGY, I guess. MAGY, I don't know. It paid 55 cents. And CHPY, shocking 80 cents. But again, CHPY is a little bit older. I should have bought it a couple weeks ago, so we don't know how it's really going to perform. But let's slide over to the side. We did add some new dividend ETFs, so we're just under $14, which is exciting. It's our highest week yet of payments, but we did add $200 worth of money into the account to make this jump. So I'm hoping we continue to see it rise, but only time will tell. Let's jump into our positions tab. Actually, we'll go to our dashboard first and see how this week held up to other weeks in the market. So we are nearing the end of the month, which it's not terrible. We're at 39.33 with our payments. Not our best month, and we did add 2 new dividend ETFs. So could have been worse, could have been better. All in all, I want to keep seeing this number rise, but it all depends on implied volatility, right? But then one thing I do want to check, I will say this spreadsheet is for sale for currently, it's for my channel 3 tier members, which is $25 a month. You buy it for 1 month and you get it forever. But I'm going to be moving it to my website very soon. Oh yeah, I have a website now. It's going to be, I don't have it up yet, but I'll be having everything on there because it's going to be cheaper than me giving YouTube a 40% cut. I love YouTube, but it's just expensive. And I don't want it to be so expensive for you guys where you don't want it, because I had this thing designed and I love it. And I want you guys to use it for those of you that are interested in tracking all your weekly dividends and your monthly dividends, because it's got a monthly tab as well. So one thing I do want to look at is I want to look at YMAG, because check out this dividend. So I guess it did pay out more in October of 2024 around, what even was that? That was a long time ago. But still, look at this whole month, $4.05. Pretty phenomenal. YieldMax, probably pretty similar. Not terrible, but I like seeing the trend change. I will say we do have the most XDTE in the account now, which, solid. I'm happy about that. We did add an extra share. It's the most recent purchase in the account outside of the new ones that were added. We are now in the positions tab showing us what's made and lost the most money. So I'm going to slide over. I have it zoomed in for those of you that are on mobile or on tablet or are on your TV and you're trying to read this with your eyes squinted. I'm sorry about that. It's hard to zoom it in enough to where I can still control everything because there's a lot of these now. So, wow, we have a lot of red. I mean, IWMY, these Defiance ETFs are still near all-time lows, which isn't great. But it could be worse. IWMY is down 4.5%. QQQY is done quite a bit better, down 1.9%. These two were both worst performers in the account at one point. And then we have WDTE, positive by 1.6%. QDTE underperforming WDTE again. And I know what you guys are thinking. It's the same thing I was thinking from the beginning of this challenge, that RoundHill would absolutely beat Defiance, and it simply hasn't. Some of them have. Some of the better performers from RoundHill are the best in the account, but WDTE has kept up, which I do want to mention. Then, of course, we have XDTE is down 1.7% and RDTE down 5.63%. Not pumped about it. I mean, again, could be worse, but it should be in the green. I'm going to start sliding down here. We can see we have 6% in the green from YMAG. We have 8.9% from YMAX in the green, and from YBTC, 11.7%, but it's not the best performer in the account. That one is coming. Now we're down with LFGY, down 9.7%. We are down with GPTY, down 2.6%, but I am impressed with GPTY because it's bouncing back really nicely. This thing was down double digits just a couple of weeks ago. Both of these were, so they are making their comeback. Then we see SDTY down 7%. Again, launched at a bad time. Can't blame it completely on its own, I guess. ULTY, our best performer in the account, positive by 13.9%. This is amazing, and it's one of the newer ones. So you compare this to the ones at the beginning of the spreadsheet. Those have held for 35 weeks. ULTY has been, 10-ish weeks or something like that? So the performance has been very solid, and the dividends have been juicy. We have WEEK, which is positive by 0.77%, which I know you guys laugh at this one because it's only a 4% yield annually, but at least it's in the green, guys. At least it's in the green. RDTY is positive 1.25%, a crazy amount with QDTY positive by 8.7%, almost 8.8. And then we have not YMAG, we have MAGY. I'm probably going to do that 10,000 times. MAGY, which is down 0.04%, and CHPY, that's down 2.8%. So we're going to scroll back to the top, and we're going to slide all the way to the side and see the total dividends received. There's just so many of these, but there's a few things I want to point out. Our biggest performers, we can see, of course, YMAX is near the top, or it is at the top, $32.99. Pretty crazy from a near $100 investment. Then they all bounce around. YMAG looks like it's in second place, and then IWMY. All the rest, $24, $16.50, $25.50, yada, yada, yada. YBTC has paid out $18. This is astonishing. It already passed WDTE, despite being only in this account for 5 months, I think. 5, almost 6. And then, of course, ULTY even surpassed YBTC because, not ULTY. Oh, man, I even get distracted. LFGY, my mistake. LFGY has paid almost $19 in dividends, which is remarkable. And then we do have ULTY with $17.90. So again, that one is newly added compared to the other two and still really keeping up with those distributions. Continuing to scroll down, we can see the one down here that's really been outperforming is RDTY. QDTY has been pretty solid too, and overall has a better return. But the rest, we just need to keep watching them. We still got time. So I hope you guys have enjoyed this whole series. It's been a lot of work and a lot of fun. I'm not complaining at all. I absolutely love this, and I like that you guys are sitting here with me to nerd out about finances and all to make more money in the end, right? To make more passive income. So again, be on the lookout for that interview with Will Ryan from Granite Shares. It's going to be phenomenal, and he gives out so much information. I wish I could just tell you all right now, but I can't because then you won't watch that video. As always, if you guys found this content educational, informative, enjoyable, Don't forget to like and subscribe so you never miss future updates. And if you enjoyed this video, check these ones out right now, including our weekly pay account with all of the other leveraged weekly paying dividend ETFs that I know you're going to want to see, and our newest weekly payer that you're also going to need to check out. Just genuinely check it out. Let me know what you think, and I hope to see you in the next video.